fucking taking a shit. That's what I'm fucking doing. I'm taking a shit. Do you mind?
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Chef podcast, where we're bringing you all of the up-to-date information that we can scour from the internet and give you our unfiltered, unbiased and probably downright controversial opinions on movies that are happening right now. With me is my co-host, my partner in crime, the Robin to my Batman. It's
Nightwing.
Nightwing to my Batman. Did Nightwing not, beat up Batman and run away?
Well, Batman died, and then Nightwing took over from Batman, and he was younger, more handsome. And I hear that he had an Irish twang to his nose.
So you want to be the guy?
Batman! Oh, Gordon, Professor Gordon. Commissioner Bond, I'm going to punch the Joker in the faces.
And I tell you what. I've just been watching Peaky Blinders. I've just smashed in 5 series of Peaky Blinders in the past 3 days, so I'm all gypsy. It's amazing.
Great. Yeah, very, very good.
I love how every season, when a big star comes into it, it's a big introduction, very subtly, and it's like we're saying, Adrian Brody's here, and we know it's going to be a big deal.
Do you know what? Funny to say this, and we didn't plan this at all, but I've probably told you this story. Sam Neill is in the first season of Peaky Blinders. Yeah, okay.
Where's Sam Neill from?
Did you know that Sam Neill was born in a little place called Omatown in County Tyrone here in Ireland?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
He was. I'm from
So immediately.
As the story goes, Sam Neill's father was stationed over here as part of a New Zealand regiment of the British Army, and he was stationed in County Tyrone, and Sam Neill was actually born around the Mellon area, just outside of Omagh. And he does talk about it quite often as well. He comes back to Omagh, every few years to walk around his old homestead and stuff like that there. So yeah,
just wander the lanes of Omagh, just to take in the scenery.
So Sam Neill, megastar. I think we can all agree that he's an absolute megastar. There is no other star who's bigger than Sam Neill. There isn't.
Goldblum.
Fuck you.
Who else? I tell you, who else have you got famous from your town? Because this is one for you, for me then. Because we didn't, we're supposed to be bringing you some hot, juicy news, but
there's one other actor. Now, I don't know if I think he was from Tyrone. I don't know if he was from Omagh or not. But do you remember the original Ben-Hur?
Charlton Heston.
With Charlton Heston, yeah. Do you remember his best friend, the guy who played his best friend, and then they kind of turned against each other?
No.
Masala, I think his name was. Anyway, his name was Stephen Boyd, and he was from our neck of the woods.
I come from a town in West Yorkshire, and it's one of those towns that you have to drive through just to get to the place where you're going. I don't think there's any reason anybody actually used to go to that town specifically. But I used to go to the same school and grew up near where Patrick Stewart grew up.
Who's that?
Old Professor X.
Who?
Well, damn you. You know damn well who he is.
He's not Sam Neill.
He's not, no.
Is that the guy that Sir Ian McKellen hangs around with?
Yeah, I used to go to the same school. I actually met Patrick Stewart. They brought him in one day to meet all the students and pass on his amazing knowledge to the acting team. And I think the whole school just went nuts for the day because Patrick Stewart was there.
I see he keeps reading sonnets on Twitter.
He's one of them, and nothing wrong with this, but he's a lovey. And you've noticed with this, right? With this whole lockdown, you've got some celebrities going fucking insane. You've got some that are just trying to be the voice of the people and all this. And then you've got some that are you've got Lloyd Webber, You got Richard E. Grant diving into the with Neil and I quotes every day.
I do enjoy Richard E. Grant's with Neil and I stuff.
He's good in it. I mean, I like who was the other one as well? Yeah, Patrick Stewart, who was doing a bit, and then I think somebody were doing sort of bedtime stories or something for kids. But you just know there's a certain caliber of man that just thinks I'm going to get on Twitter and I'm going to perform. The world is my stage, and I don't care if there's no curtain.
It's Taika Waititi. He's doing the Roald Dahl movies or the Roald Dahl books.
Yes.
But Sam Neill again.
Sam Neill was in one for the Wilder People.
Sam Neill has been doing like mini movies on Twitter, and he's been getting other actors to film their parts in their house in other countries. So, like, he did one on Saturday with Helena Bonham Carter. So Sam Neill, you know.
And is it one of them where anybody you say to somebody, "I come from Oma," do they say, "Do you know Sam Neill?"
Well, do you know what? Sam Neill, probably that's how he starts every single conversation. Helena Bonham Carter, this is Sam Neill from Oma.
G'day.
If you remember my really bad accent in Peaky Blinders, well, guess why?
It's all natural.
Yeah, I was moved from Oma in a young age, and I had to go down to New Zealand.
So, hot news, hot juicy news, hot juicy news splashing across your face. Scott Derrickson, who he's now been freed up from directing the Doctor Strange 2. Apparently, his vision and Marvel's vision.
Very diplomatic way of saying fired.
Marvel decided they weren't going to pay him or tell him where they were going to be filming. So he's been fired. Apparently, he wanted to make Doctor Strange 2 more of a horror. Do you notice with Marvel how it's the exact opposite of DC, where the studio interfered that much?
What? It's good?
No, hang on. No. Warner interfered in the films that much, it's caused them to have to re-release and recut and re-edit one of their own films. But yet Marvel interferes so much that they basically say to directors like Edgar Wright and Scott Derrickson, no, you're not doing what you want, follow this template. But it works.
I think in another vein, yes, Marvel tell the directors exactly what they want, but I think directors go into Marvel movies expecting that they'll be given a slight wee bit of leeway, here or there, and then as soon as, the Marvel execs and Disney execs walk in and go, oh no, we told you from the start, no, this is the movie we want, and this is the movie that we're going to get.
Yeah. Well, apparently Scott Derrickson wanted to.
On the other side, DC seemed to go, yeah, let's see your vision, and yeah, let's go. And then 16 to 20 weeks into shooting, they go, sorry, no, bye. What?
It's like Warner take all the footage to an editor and go, what can you get out of all that? And Marvel go, film this to this script that we've pre-approved. Don't divert from it. Now, obviously, it's been approved with the directors, but I'd love to know what Edgar Wright and the woman that went and did Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins, and Scott Derrickson had planned for their films that was so off from the formula that they walked away. But yeah.
Well, it kind of strikes me as Marvel didn't immediately go for the comic angle. The first lot of Marvel movies had that element of comedy in it, the odd punchline, stuff they got there.
Yeah.
But, early on it was quite serious. First Avenger was serious. Iron Man was serious enough. Thor was serious. Even the first Avengers movie was quite serious. And then it took it took the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah.
Yeah.
When they realised they could get away with more comedy than...
Yeah. Comedy works. People like the comedy. Let's throw comedy at it. And some movies, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 suffered for me simply because they tried to make it a comedy. It was a comedy first and a Marvel movie second.
Apparently that's James Gunn's. That was James Gunn's baby. He could go and do that. So his third film apparently is. If you didn't like the second one, the third one is. Unless he's learned from being away, I don't know.
It's literally just going to be Chris Rock for a 3.5 hour doing stand-up.
So we've got Scott Derrickson. He's left Sam Raimi has been brought in to direct Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
People absolutely rave about Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Well,
Spider-Man 1 and 2.
hold on. Whoa. I'm gonna say this.
You know what I'm gonna say, so go on.
Me and you seen Spider-Man 2 together in the cinema. We seen that when we were near. Oh, thanks for remembering. We seen Spider-Man 2 in the cinema in Carlisle at University.
Of course we did.
And
2000, yeah.
And I fucking loved Spider-Man 2. I thought Spider-Man 2 was a great movie. You know, only when you look back at it with glasses of 15 years of Marvel movies, which were fantastic, do you then see part of the flaws and stuff like that there, you know, because Marvel made superheroes relevant, you know, in this latest arc of movies. But I really enjoyed, you know, them, the first and the second. I think the third kind of fell into itself a little bit, but I actually enjoyed the first and the second Spider-Man movies, you know, so.
I enjoyed them, don't get me wrong, I enjoy pretty much anything. You stick a cape on something, I'll enjoy it, but I was never sold on Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. Never. For them characters. And Tobey Maguire I just don't like him. So I just don't like the stuff he does. You know.
All right.
Sorry, Toby. Hashtag cancel. No, sorry, Toby. But I just didn't think he was right for it. And a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, it's fantastic." To me, it was one of those. You know, I'm looking like, why is a 30-year-old guy playing a teenage boy? I didn't like his whimpering. And I know it's supposed to be sort of this geeky, nerdy team, but I just think when you see what Tom Holland did with Marvel. Anyway, that's the beauty of hindsight. But Spider-Man 2 was great. The first one, it was alright, bit corny, bit cheesy. But for Sam Raimi to come now to be doing a horror tinge...
A non-horror? Is it not supposed to be a non-horror?
Well, no, apparently they want to make it a horror genre film, but not Scott Derrickson horror. He wanted to go all out and say, well, let's go for it. Let's make it a horror film. And they kind of.
I'm kind of weirded out as to what they actually want out of the movie, because, you know.
Have you seen Far From Home? Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, I've seen Far From Home.
So you know the Mysterio hallucination scenes when he's learnt about Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That kind of, you know, kid-friendly, scary scenes. But apparently Derrickson wanted to really push the rating and everything. But
Sam Raimi's not a kid-friendly horror man.
Exactly. So here's the question: you've got rid of Scott Derrickson because apparently he wanted to go more horror, and you bring in Sam Raimi, unless they've said we want Spider-Man 2, we don't want Evil Dead.
Well, you know, I understand the Sam Raimi bit, because he does do horror and comedy really well. You know, because you look at the movies even that Sam Raimi did as horror movies. You know, you got Evil Dead. What was it? Crime Wave. Darkman. You say Darkman's a horror? Yeah, Darkman's a horror.
Darkman's great. The Frighteners? Was that Sam Raimi?
No, that was Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
He did The Gift, where Katie Holmes got her baps out. Yeah.
Hang on. Pause this podcast. Okay, and we're back. Yeah, it's a great film.
But like, I think the last horror movie he did was Drag Me to Hell.
Yes.
What was it? That was the last horror movie. Yeah, because he did that. He did that Oz Great and Powerful as well.
Yeah, that is terrible.
I didn't mind it.
Just didn't do it for me. But so Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange 2. If he's going for the comedy, then I think Doctor Strange needs somebody to bounce off. And if you're having... I
know exactly what you're going to say.
You've got Scarlet Witch.
Where's Ivan Raimi? And where's Bruce Campbell? Where are these two legends going to slip into the Marvel universe?
I would not be surprised if Bruce Campbell turns up in it. Not at all.
Of course you won't.
I wouldn't be totally shocked if Tobey Maguire turns up in it. And maybe they made that... Yep. There's a lot of rumours that because it's the multiverse, you're going to be travelling to different universes.
Oh, yes, I didn't even click onto that.
And then one of the rumours online, which I think is fucking, I'm buzzing for that if it comes off, is a Spider-Verse a Spider-Verse movie that is Sony's property. So they've got Tom Holland as Spider-Man. You introduce the concept of a multiverse, and then Sony have their own live-action Spider-Verse film with Andrew Garfield, a new Miles Morales, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire. Yeah, that's the dream.
Wow. No, but that's the dream.
No, that's the end point. Apparently, that's where they want to get to create a multiverse, take them characters, and do their own thing. So
we'll have Old Man Spider-Man with Tobey. We'll have Autistic Spider-Man with Garfield, and we'll have. Come on, it's very much. Either he was bipolar or he was autistic. I don't know what Garfield was going for in that Amazing Spider-Man.
I've got to admit, I've heard somebody say that before, and they say, go and look at it. Go and look at the film and how he...
Very much so, very much so. I mean, you watched, he's literally, it looks like Spider-Man should be conflicted, so all superheroes should be conflicted, but he looks conflicted to the point where he wants to rip his head apart and go in two different directions in every scene of it. And, it was a very, very strange performance in Spider-Man.
And just before there's letters, when this is absolutely not a criticism of Andrew Garfield, the performance, or anybody with autism. It's just the fact that...
Or autism, or people on the autistic spectrum, whatever. It was just, that's how I interpreted his performance.
I've got to admit, I think it could well have been you that told me that, but then you think back to scenes of him obsessing over what happened to his dad, the angst and the different emotions and the flip-flopping of emotions, the sort of roller coaster he goes through. When you told me to look at it through that eyes. So yeah. Okay, so Andrew Garfield. So we'll write off Andrew coming back then. So we've got Sam Raimi doing Doctor Strange 2. That leaves Scott Derrickson open, who has been announced yesterday for doing a sequel to Labyrinth, one of the first films that we discussed. Obviously, David Bowie can't be with us this evening. Who's your pick? So Scott Derrickson, horror director, doing a kids' dark fantasy.
Not kids. I wouldn't say it's kids. I wouldn't say it's for kids.
I'd say they'd be aiming it. I think if they got a PG-13 certificate, they'd be disappointed. It's no way going to be. You're talking. It's no way going to be more violent, scary, adult than a Marvel film. Not Labyrinth.
Okay. I'm gonna put something to you here, right? Okay, so Jarlath is no longer a man, but it's a woman.
Yeah, I heard.
And Zoe Deschanel plays Jarlath.
Right, okay. First of all, Zoe is an angel, and she would be able to succeed in anything. To be honest, right, if you put her on stage with a sack of potatoes, I'd go and watch that for an hour. That'd be fun. But
that's the thing, you enter into really strange territory now when it comes to things like Labyrinth, because Jennifer Connelly is supposed to be 15 or 16 in Labyrinth, and David Bowie is obviously a 30-something, 40-something-year-old man, So in that world, we're led to believe that Jarlath is trying to, bone this girl, when we all know and we all understand that it was in Jennifer Connelly's head, and she was fucking trapping David Bowie in her head, trying to fucking fuck him. We all know that now after what I said. We all know it. I meant
to ask you this after the last episode. When you said it's all in her head, was it?
It's all in her head.
Hang on, shut the fuck up. Are we talking all in her head like? I've totally forgot one. So Drop Dead Fred, that she went out and imagined him as an imaginary friend, or was it she just sat there and imagined it all in her headspace?
She was acting it out, walking around the house, not knowing she was walking around the house, but the labyrinth was all in her head and everything was as it is. So everything was in her head. She was walking around the house like a fucking maniac. She was in the house. Everybody was out. Her wee brother was shitting and pissing himself upstairs, and she was, what kind of magic spell do? And, and she was imagining David Bowie boning her, and Woggle and fucking everybody else.
So, first one I've heard of is that I saw the Zoe Deschanel one, I saw one person suggest Amy
Hold on.
Adams.
Whoa. Was
He's
that
gone
actual rumour?
I saw somebody say that, yeah.
Fuck off.
I saw Amy Adams or Zoe. Oh, no, sorry, excuse me, with a woman. Not with Zoe Deschanel, with a woman.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought somebody was fucking, raping my mind.
Well,
sorry, I lost it there for a second. I apologise.
One suggestion was, fuck you, who's thinking the same thing as me? There's 7 billion people on the planet. Not one other person might consider, not one other person might contemplate Zoe Deschanel being given a mid-card promoted film.
I apologise, okay?
To Zoe. Apologise to Zoe.
To Zoe, I apologise for losing it. I apologise to our one Australian listener who has accidentally stumbled upon the podcast.
Sorry, hello to our Australian listener. Sorry, we forgot to say that at the beginning. Hello to our Australian listener.
Paddy Cameron. Hello.
And I saw another suggestion was Lady Gaga.
No.
I think it'd be too much about her and the costumes and the songs rather than the puppetry. No, but I think it would become all about her.
Do you know who would be good?
Well, I've already said who I think, but go on. Who do you think?
Well, I think Zoe Deschanel would be okay. But I think definitely it'll be a woman. Definitely Jarlath will be a woman. But how about this? Do we know if Gwendolyn Christie can sing?
Hang on. She
Paul,
is an idiot, sorry.
Get on the Empire.
Let me just go tweet Gwendolyn Christie. We'll just hold on for a week or two. Gwendolyn, what you like with Danny Boy?
I think Gwendolyn Christie could play it pretty well. She's she's a girth of a woman. She's beautiful. She's tall. She's a good actor.
2 suggestions for you.
Okay.
Amy Adams.
Mm-hmm.
Heel turn, does a evil role. No. Hugh Jackman.
No.
Imagine Hugh Jackman going full British. No. Hang on.
You've got it. You've nailed that 100%, because he would be a producer's choice 100%.
But I just imagine him in the role though, going full Greatest Showman, Les Mis, belting the songs out himself, codpiece.
I know.
Veins leggings.
Hugh Jackman.
Some amazing wig work. He would love it. He would love it. I think it'd fit
too much.
And
he would love it too much.
That guarantees you 500 million. That gets the Bored Housewives in. That's what I'm saying. I'm going Hugh Jackman.
What about Michael B. Jordan?
Fuck it, he gets suggested for everybody else. Let's do Lady Gaga, or Scarface, as Michael B. Jordan.
So I have got some news.
What you got?
Okay. What do you know about Matt Damon?
Okay. Matt, tell me a bit about you. No, he's not here. And I know he won an Oscar. And Ben Affleck won one for farting, and that's about it. What you got?
Okay.
Did you never hear that? When they were writing Good Will Hunting. Apparently when they were writing Good Will Hunting, I don't know the full story, and some Ben Affleck stand's going to write and go, what dare you say against Ben Affleck? Apparently he contributed not as much to the script as Matt Damon. And I think one of the key things that Ben Affleck actually got into the script was the farting gag at some point, where Ben Affleck suggested he break wind. And there was something I read that a lot of people were saying how Ben didn't deserve it because Matt Damon did the legwork on that. But hey ho, it was a good film. Robin Williams, R.I.P. So that's all I know about Matt Damon.
Okay. Do you know where Matt Damon is right now?
Let me just find my phone. No, I don't. Sorry.
Well, Matt Damon is in Ireland.
Right, okay. Is he in Oma?
He's not in Oma. Him and Sam Neill have never met. I don't think. He has been living in a town called Dalkey, just outside of Dublin. And he's been living there since mid-March.
Right.
So he's obviously been here during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he got stuck here due to the travel restrictions, and he decided obviously that it was safer for him and his family to remain in Southern Ireland. So they've been in Southern Ireland since mid-March.
Jeez.
Now, it became like a local kind of myth, and everybody's like, no, Matt Damon's not in Ireland. And then about mid-April, pictures started emerging of him with like super value bags, walking around, walking
like
around
Dublin.
Dublin.
Tater crisps under his arm.
Kind of. And then this whole kind of thing erupted down south about, is Matt Damon actually in Ireland? Is he actually in Dalkey? Where does this come from? And all these radio presenters decided to try and hunt him down and see, is he here? And he was, and he graciously went. Yeah, he graciously went on the radio and explained obviously why he was in Dalkey.
Did he do the thing like when a shamed politician has all the press on his doorstep? Did he come out with a tray of mugs of tea? I can just imagine Matt Damon coming down with mugs of tea for the journalists outside, just handing them out, going, "Hey, morning guys, morning everybody."
Well, apparently he's been having a whale of a time, and I think it's fitting today that we mention it simply because I think, it was reported yesterday that there was a few local, bakers and butchers and stuff in Dalkey that have posted up saying, that the Damons came in and said goodbye and, things like that there. So they obviously were going to be heading home at some point. But I think it's nice. I think it's nice that,
it is.
A big massive star can come over to a wee town just outside of Dublin and stay there and, go unnoticed, not get hassled, just be completely anonymous, and just be a genuine person, just be a genuine man.
Have you heard the one about Nicolas Cage? He's got a house in Bath. Or if you're from a part of the country which puts R's in your word, Bath.
Bath.
Apparently Nicolas Cage lives near Bath. And there's numerous sightings of Nicolas Cage out and around Bath, just coming out with like W.H. Smith bags under his, just out and about in Bath for a walk around. I've read that before. That apparently he lives there or near there, and it's one of those local myths. But yeah, playing the giant chess set on his own in the park, just against himself. This week's episode is very different. Usually we talk about movies or a different genre era. We're making real out of movies, as we say we always do. This week's a bit different. What we've done this week is we've gone down James Cameron's rabbit hole. Now, for you smutsers at the back, this is the internet rabbit holes. This is something you introduced me to, wasn't it, Cormaniac? And this is where you spend those lonely lockdown nights on the internet, stuck with your face in a screen, and you pick a subject, and from there you only follow the stories, the links, you follow the websites that come up, and just go with it. Just try and find something new, find new stories that you've not heard before, find a bit of information, and just have a bit of fun with it. Use the internet for what it was. One of my teachers in design and technology, Mr. Sullivan, back in whatever it was, he says 95% of the internet is just pornography and useless information, and the other 5% is pointless.
Yes, I totally agree with him.
So I found some useless information. It's not useless actually. These are I've found odd bits of stories and stuff and a few facts, and I just thought we'd have a bit of a crack and see if we can, as you say, crack an egg of knowledge on each other.
Yeah, crack an egg of knowledge all over you.
So we started with James Cameron. What have you got? Where did you start? What did you find?
Okay. Well, can I first say that it's not a good rabbit hole unless you find a Nazi element to it.
Right, okay, I wasn't aware of that rule.
No. I have broken my own rule.
Is that the same with pornography?
Of course.
It's not good unless there's a Nazi element to it.
But usually a good rabbit hole, fall down, it usually ends in looking up stuff about, Nazi hunters or, I won't mention anything else, whatever. Right.
Anyway. Sorry, can I just say, you're saying that, and I watched Peaky Blinders this afternoon, and I clicked on the series, and I thought, who's this Oswald Mosley they keep talking about? Jesus Christ, I was reading about Himmler after 10 minutes. Christ on a bike. So yeah, I fully get where you're coming from. But anyway.
It does, anyway. But anyway, so our start point was James Cameron. So my first divulge into that was simple. You know, I love the original Terminator. So I was like, all right, so I'm just going to go Terminator. So bang, Terminator, hit it. So something that I never knew. James Cameron sold the rights for the Terminator before it was made, obviously, for $1 to his future wife, Gail Hurd, on the specific condition that he would be directing it.
Okay.
So he missed out on millions, but he missed out on millions as a producer and having a creator's credit, from that.
Was this just
and he
to get
sold
the finance going? It was just so
I think
he could
it was,
get it?
yeah.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
I think he put it down to his original Hollywood education or something like that. You know, he paid the price, or it was the cost of a Hollywood education, and
right,
to give it away. But I'll say what I'm going on to next, and I'll let you do your first. But that kind of led me on to passed up ideas or things that were given away or things that kind of lost out because people didn't agree with them. Okay, so what was your first?
I was reading about his films and ended up on the set of Titanic. Now, there's lots of stories about the filming of Titanic. Have you ever heard of the story of the poisoning on set?
No, go for it.
So, last day of filming in Nova Scotia. So these were the present day scenes with Bill Paxton and the 98-year-old woman and everyone freezing their asses off on a ship in the middle of the night while she's telling them the story. And towards the end of the night,
there was a fucking $100 million diamond in the sea. Yeah.
So during the night, everyone suddenly started feeling woozy. By the end of it, they were all in hospital. And it was August the 8th, 1996, cast and crew there. They had James Cameron was there, producer John Landau, various other people, including Bill Paxton. And there was the catering that you normally have on set. And in that catering was some chowder. Now, some people say it was like clam chowder, lobster chowder.
Chowder!
I don't even know what chowder is. Is it just like thick soup or something? Is it like hum?
It's like a gumbo. It's like fish and stuff like that there that's all kind of thrown in together. Clams and fish and things like that.
Well, somebody else decided to put PCP into it. Cameron said he was stabbed in the face with a pen by a crew member. And he was just sitting there laughing and bleeding in the face.
He could take it.
He could take it. He was stabbed in the back with Terminator. He got stabbed in the face. By the end of the night, they were all in hospital doing a conga line through the emergency department. And yes, basically somebody on set on the last night of film, the 98-year-old woman, I'm sure she's famous, but Gloria Stewart, 76-year-old, 98, Jesus, 76-year-old. She had her own catering. She was eating her own packed lunch, so she was fine. But yeah, pretty much the majority of the staff that had on the last night of filming for Titanic were all spiked with PCP and ended up stabbing each other and doing conga lines. I've never even heard that story before. Apparently James Cameron thinks he knows who it was. It was somebody the day before was pissed off at the catering department, ended up getting sacked, and he snuck back on set the next day and apparently spiked the chowder for everyone with PCP. I've never even knew that.
That would be a felony, like, in America.
Yeah.
That could be a significant jail sentence.
Yes. Though Cameron has never, I'm quoting Vanity Fair. Though Cameron, always give your sources. Though Cameron has never named a suspect, he is pretty certain he knows who did it. We had fired a crew member the day before because they were creating trouble with the caterers. So we believe the poisoning was this idiot's plan to get back at the caterers, whom, of course, we promptly fired the next day, so it worked.
Was Bill Paxton?
Never knew that. I can imagine Bill Paxton, God rest his soul,
100%.
conga lining up and down. You know what? It'd be like, we're all, oh no, I'm not going to say that, but Basically, I brought my own. Hit him there with Matthew mahogany. So yeah, never even knew that. Apparently, in the last day's
Never
film,
knew
one
that.
of the biggest
Never knew that
films
story.
of all time, there was they were all dosed up. So you went on to what was it? Sorry.
So yeah, no, it just got me thinking. It got me thinking of movies that were passed up, or ideas that were passed up. So that kind of got me down a wee rabbit hole of them kind of movies. So the first one that I looked up was Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was put down as being too demented. The worst thing that was ever written. These are from some of the producers. Yeah. Makes no sense. They couldn't understand why somebody was killed and then came back. And
can I just say they said all this? They said all this about the Justice League as well. They said all this about Snyder's Justice League.
And they said it was too violent and unfilmable. So then it went on to Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, you think of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Spielberg and George Lucas,
and Harrison Ford.
Found it. Yeah, but they found it hard to raise money for it, and it was passed over by every single studio. It was known as Indiana Smith before it was known as Indiana Jones.
Right. Okay.
And then Paramount took the punt on it, and it ended up making $400 million.
Yeah.
The next one down that was Usual Suspects. So they again found it really weird that the narrative was shifted around, and that was, the start was near enough the end and the end was the start and things like that. They couldn't get any financing in America, so that's why they had to turn to European backers. The American producers were completely bamboozled by the story, and that's why Bryan Singer was only given a £6 million budget, because some of them thought that he wouldn't be able to actually make a coherent story out of it. But the one that I went kind of down a wee bit more was Back to the Future.
Right.
So
the first one.
The first one, the original Back to the Future. So it was passed up because studios couldn't decide either it was too sexual or too cheesy. So
yes.
Disney,
yes, it was.
Disney, yeah. So Disney passed up on Disney passed up on it because of the whole kind of incest mummy son kind of scenario. But then other people. But other studios then went, no, it's too cheesy, and kind of overlooked the whole kind of incest kind of element.
So some people had a problem with it, some people didn't. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So Spielberg then obviously finally got his hands on it, and it was made by Amblin. And the original name for Back to the Future was Spacemen from Pluto.
Right. Was it?
Yeah, one of the producers sent this to Spielberg, and Spielberg sent him a message back basically going, this is the stupidest fucking line that I've ever heard in my life. What are you talking about? And then he never heard from the guy again. So and then when it obviously came back, it was called Back to the Future. But then, so that kind of got me down another rabbit hole, as in movies that had different names. So I'll let you do your second one, and then I'll go into my third.
Well, I was looking up. I was on the Titanic rabbit hole. Then I was looking at down all the sort of documentaries they were doing and James Cameron were doing, and I came across, so to speak, Violet Jessup. Have you ever heard of Violet Jessup?
I have not, sir.
She was born in Argentina to Irish immigrants, William and Catherine Jessup.
Of course, she was.
Irish hearts are smiling.
No, it's not that. You know, Che Guevara's grandfather was Irish.
Was he from Homer?
It wasn't from Homer. Sam Neill had nothing to do with it.
He used to babysit Sam Neill.
But that's true. Che Guevara's grandparents were from Ireland. Lynch, I think their original name was. That's true. That's fucking true. What do you want me to say? Rebel Hearts.
Rebel Hearts. But Violet. 1911, she started working on the RMS Olympic, luxury cruise liner, and it left port on the 20th September, and it collided with the British warship. No fatalities, but the ship got back to port. So that was all right, wasn't it? So Violet then boarded the RMS Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert, that journey didn't end up too well. She ended up on a lifeboat holding somebody else's baby and then got on board the Carpathia, where that baby was snatched out of her arms by a stranger and she was never seen again. So somebody dumped a baby in her arms. She got off the Titanic the next morning, was picked up by the Carpathia. The baby that she was holding, somebody ran up and took it out of her arms and ran off. So then during the First World War, she was a stewardess for the British Red Cross. And in 1916, she was on board the HMHS Britannica. Can you guess what happened to that?
Got blown up by the fucking Germans.
It was an unexplained explosion in the Aegean Sea. Diving wreck found it. It sank within 55 minutes. Jessup managed to get off into a lifeboat, but then had to get out of the lifeboat because the propeller was dragging the boats towards it. The propeller then struck her head, gave her a fractured skull, which was only found out about 20 years later. After that, she was on one boat, collided, got back to port. She was then on the Titanic, survived, got into a lifeboat, lost somebody else's child, got on another boat during the war, fractured skull from the propeller, survived. She then went back to work for White Star, and then she spent the rest of her life on boats. She was often called the Miss Unsinkable, and she died of heart failure in 1971 at the ripe old age of 83.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say their name was Propeller Betty.
All surgeons were laughing behind her back. But apparently, the thing with the baby, somebody rang her up one day, about many years after all this was into the 60s or something, and said, I was that baby. And she told a journalist this, and the journalist just thought it was a prank caller. And she said, I'd never told anybody that somebody gave me a baby. Never once did I tell anybody. So the myth is that all them years later, that baby found the woman on the Titanic and rang her. It might have just been a tell-on. But that is the unsinkable Violet Jessup. I thought that was a great story, that from the Titanic. You know, you read about all these people that lost their lives, and you just got one that just keeps on getting on boats, keeps on getting into aquatic maritime accidents, and she keeps on fighting and keeps on moving forward. So no, that was a good one to find. That.
But that's insane. That's just insane.
What a life! What an absolute life! And she just kept, like I say, she kept getting on boats, kept working. They kept sinking.
Get the fuck off boats.
But even after all that, even after you've been on 3 boats, if one boat I was on was possibly sinking, I would not get back on them for the rest of my life. Let alone get back on another 2.
See, I like boats. I like seafare. Planes, on the other hand, if I was in any way a plane mishap, or if we had went through terrible turbulence, there's a chance that I would never walk on a plane again.
I was coming back from New York. How was it going? This was back in 2006. The first time I went to New York. And just sort of dropped that a little. No, but we were coming back, flying into Heathrow, and I tell you what, and it was only like the 4th time I'd ever been on a plane, and the turbulence was fucking horrendous. Absolutely horrendous, and I was shitting myself. You finally land, bouncing all the way down the runway, and then we had to get on another plane all the way back up to Glasgow again. I didn't want to get in. I had to get boozed up.
No, I would have just give up at that point. I would have just fucking fell asleep at the airport.
I'll get a taxi back. Back.
So, part number 3. So, movies that have different names. So, obviously, Back to the Future had Spaceman from Pluto. So, I've got a couple of starter ones. Now, this isn't part of the quiz, but this is a part of some movies that had different names, and then the movie names changed. Okay. So, Long Night at Camp Blood, Friday the 13th. I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
This is a great one. Teenage sex comedy that can be made for under 10 million that most readers will probably hate, but I think you will love. American Pie.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That was the original movie. That was the original name for American Pie. So here goes. Here starts the quiz. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what movie started off life as 3,000? And it wasn't 300, all right?
3,000.
3,000.
No, go on.
Okay. It was Pretty Woman. It was $3,000. $3,000 was the original payment between Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. So within the time frame of the movie being made, they got the rights to Pretty Woman, the Roy Orbison song. So they thought, let's just change the name to Pretty Woman.
It was
okay.
No, I won't go there. But there's one line, and prostitutes is a line that we will not cross. Go
on. So, Pacific Air Flight 121.
Pacific
Air Flight 121.
Give us the year the film came out, or the rough time it came out.
Rough guesstimate would probably be around 2007 to about 2010.
Nah. Pacific Air Flight.
Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, Christ, of course. Right, okay.
So, it was changed back at the request of Samuel L. Jackson because he said that the name was the only reason that he signed up to do the movie. It was originally Snakes on the Plane, then they changed it to Pacific Flight Air 121, and then Samuel L. Jackson was like, well, no, fucking change it back.
That's why I'm doing it. There's only one reason I've flown out to here to do this fucking film. Oh my, Have you seen it? Have you seen Snakes on a Plane?
Do you know what? I haven't seen it.
It looks like one of those where somebody came up with a great title for a film, and then just filled the rest of it in. It is daft. It wouldn't have become a 15 or PG R rated, whatever the fuck you want to call it, without Samuel L. Jackson in it, because they went back and did reshoots, adding all the motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane lines, because the fans were absolutely outraged that Jackson wasn't going to be swearing in
it. Right. So here's the third one: Star Beast. Star Beast.
Flash Gordon.
No. One more go. Star Beast.
Star Beast. Not Godzilla. Cloverfield.
No.
Right, go on.
Alien.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Dan O'Bannon, the original screenwriter, he never liked the name, so it was he was always wanting to change the name of the movie.
I'm not surprised.
And then he realised at how many times that he'd written the word alien in the script, and then he changed it. And it worked, but it works so well. It works so well.
But you know what, love? Do you really need to go through that script again? Yeah, I've just realised not once do I mention Star fucking Beast.
Yeah, Star Beast.
Alien's a much better name.
Number 4, Head Cheese.
I know this one.
Okay, go for it.
No, I don't. Is it something like, not Beverly Hills Cop?
No. Far from it. Way.
So the other one is Head Cheese, is Who's Yours. Is it something to do with Kevin Smith?
No, nothing.
Okay, I ain't got a clue then.
It's a horror movie.
I've heard of it before. Oh, I've heard of it.
Probably one of the most famous horror movies ever made.
Evil Dead?
No.
Is that where
I'll give you one more go.
One more go. I can
Texas
guess
Chainsaw Massacre.
Really?
Uh-huh. So there's apparently no reason that's been put down other than there's a line in it, and it is, you get a dinner with us, my brother makes good head cheese.
Right, okay.
So apparently that's a line in the movie. I can't remember it at all, but there you go.
I can't. I watched that. I watched that again the other day. It is, you feel dirty watching it. The original.
Yeah. But there's some movies that do that. But there's some movies that do that to me that, I think when we were speaking about the visual effects and some of the, what movie was it? Was it Howard the Duck? That I felt really uncomfortable. No, Superman. It was Superman. Quest for Peace.
Right.
because it was so low budget that I started actually fearing for the stuntmen.
Yes.
And you kind of got that same kind of vibe from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, it was raw and real. It was kind of like, oh god. Number five is the last one. Number 5 is the last one. Okay.
Okay.
A boy's life.
E.T.
Oh, well done.
I knew
well
that.
done. Yeah.
A Boy's Life for E.T. and Blue Harvest for Star Wars. They're the two that they're the two that I can always remember.
So this that was the last one. So Spielberg was protective of the script, so he made all the actors read it behind closed doors, and the movie was changed, obviously, the name from A Boy's Life to E.T. So that kind of led me down another hole, movie titles.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So I kept thinking to myself, movie titles of pre-production movie titles, and I thought, no, that's not really that interesting. And then I thought, bad movie titles.
Okay.
So I'll leave it there.
Right. Okay. Well, all right. 2 little quick ones for you. Have you seen 1917?
I haven't.
Okay. Pretty controversial opinion here, but it was just a very expensive student film to me. Anyway, it looked fantastic. Technically, it was very well made, but for me, I need more of a film.
Every movie looks great nowadays because computers can make anything happen. You can tell the difference between certain CGI. And for 1917, when they are actually there filming scenes in the trenches or what have you, and they've actually built these sets, it looks very impressive. And the single take gimmick is just that. It's a gimmick to me. It didn't add anything to the story. Anyway, so I wasn't taken aback by it. But sorry, can we go back to that? Was it 1917 all single take?
Well, it was the single take effect. I don't know what the word is for it. The cut, they did, the typical sort of, where the camera's panning down and they pass by a beam or a cupboard or something in the way of the camera.
Yeah, I get it.
That's how the cut on all that. But apparently there was one scene, one single take in it that was about 8 minutes long, and it looked fantastic. I think it was Roger Deakins doing the cinematography, but no, it on screen, the palette, the CGI, the setting, technically everything that built up was very impressive. But I've never watched it since. I went and saw it the first day it came out. I've never watched it since, just because it did absolutely nothing for me. I'd prefer to watch a decent story with, like, Saving Private Ryan without the single take thing. When you spend more time trying to position your cameras and rehearse rather than, and people will argue till the blue face that there was a story, but it wasn't. It was a side quest for a video game. But anyway, at the end of that film, I'm not going to spoil anything, but at the end of that film, there is a shot of a majestic oak tree. It's in Shropshire, I think, where they did the filming. Salisbury. Apparently, during that, it's a very poignant moment in the film, where one of the characters takes a moment to reflect back on what's just happened, both emotionally, physically, mentally. One extra, who was interviewed, claims that spot was often used as a makeshift toilet for 300 extras on the day. They were unaware that the film stars would be using it as a leaning post during a tender moment. So the extra was quizzed. Actor Peter Shepherd, who worked as an extra on the film, laughs as he recalls, "There's an old oak tree just around the end." I don't know if he was from Leeds or not, but there was an old oak tree just around the end of the film. There must have been about 100 extras pissing against that tree throughout the day, as the toilets were so far out. No one told us the actor would be sitting under it at the end of the film. And I cannot watch that film now without thinking that guy's been sitting in 300 extras worth of piss.
Pissy arse.
Hey, pissy arse. I've got another one to say that one. Quick quiz question for you. I was on a bit of a war theme, so quick quiz question.
Oh.
What was the shortest ever war? And bonus points for who did it involve.
Shortest ever war?
Yeah. Would you like the date?
Go for it.
1896.
Right, okay. Now, I know that there was... Has it anything to do with Canada?
No.
Alright, I'm fucked. Right, I'll tell you the story that I know anyway. Did you know that there was a bunch of Irishmen that once tried to invade Canada and who declared war on Canada and crossed the border in New York, and it was quelled within like an hour or two. They were all arrested. But Ireland declared war on Canada through New York.
That was the official I'm trying to take you on at war kind of thing. They were officially declared.
I think it was the Irish National Foresters or something like that there of New York, and they didn't obviously agree with Britain's occupation of Canada, and then obviously Britain was occupying Northern Ireland as well, so they decided, let's fucking attack Canada, yay! And about 50 drunk boys crossed at Niagara. Ireland declared war on Canada, and then the Canadian Army basically just fucking hit them all with sticks and put them in prison because they were all drunk. Yeah, they're all bail. Yeah, no, but that's all I know. Though, sorry, go for it. What was the shortest war?
The shortest war, apparently, according to the internet, is the Anglo-Zanzibar War for Anglo-British. It was on the 27th of August, 1896.
Is this going to be some pro-British crap from you?
The conflict lasted between 38 and 45 minutes. Apparently, and this is why. Apparently, you're going to be shocked to learn the British wanted to put one of their own interested parties in the head of the country. The locals said, "No, we don't want some of that." Basically, 500 were killed on the Zanzibar side. 2 boats sunk. 1 British sailor wounded. 38 minutes, the world's shortest ever war. And that was not a pro-British thing. If I could be bothered going into the full story, I would have slated what we've done around the world. Have you seen what's James Acaster's comedy special, where he talks about the Brits who have gone around the world? Have you watched it on Netflix?
I haven't, but I've listened to. If anybody out there listens to us, I would suggest to listen to a podcast called Behind the Bastards by a journalist called Robert Evans. He used to write for Cracked and Vice, and he does a lot of really, really in-depth podcasts, really funny podcasts into just basically bastards from around the world. And one of his podcasts a lot of his podcasts are about people who are involved in the colonization of Africa, specifically, Belgium and Britain, in that kind of region, Congo, Tanzania, places like that. It's very, very interesting. Anybody would seem to want to revise their history by listening to the podcast. It's very, very it's so horrible. When you learn things like Belgium gave bullets to their soldiers for every hand that they sent back to Belgium.
Right.
Yeah. Think about that. So there was a point in the Congo where genetically people were being born with one hand smaller than the other because of the amount of hands that the Belgians cut off the people in the Congo. That's fucked up.
If it's bad enough for Billy Joel to put it into his into one of his songs, then it must be bad.
We didn't start the fire? Because that's the Billy Joel.
No, something about the way you look tonight.
Piano
and
Man.
He chops off the hands in the Congo, and he sends them.
Billy's in the corner chopping up Congo people's hands. Oh, Billy, calm down.
Chop me a hand, you're the Congo man.
Oh.
Right, have you got? What's your last one?
Okay, so
because this better be good because I've got a great one for the. Mine's along the same theme, so this better be good. This better be good.
Good. This better.
I'm going to strap myself in.
Okay, right. So, movie titles. So, bad movie titles. Okay? So, there was a few of them, and I only wanted to pick out a couple. So, I wanted to pick out 5. So,
Right.
number 1 was a movie from 1954 called... Did you get that?
Sounds like you're blowing your nose. PFFFT.
PHFFFT. So
right, okay.
Yeah. So it was apparently it was a romantic comedy.
Imagine going out. That was a romantic. Imagine taking a date out. Imagine going out for a night of romance with a lady friend, and then you get to the counter and there's a young work experience kid behind the counter at the cinema. What will it be?
Or I thought even worse than that. Imagine you're taking a girl out, you get to the door and you go, "What are we going to go see?" No, what are we going to go see? Right.
Okay, sounds good.
What are we going to go fucking see though? Ah.
Not again. We went through this last week.
So the next one was Quick-Sir Fortune has a cousin in the Bronx.
Say that again.
Quick-Sir Fortune has a cousin in the Bronx. Now,
okay.
I couldn't find anything on that.
So instead of bringing a bit of information about an actual film, you've just basically said a name, or you're just making your own film titles about it.
No, it's a fucking movie. It's a fucking movie.
Pygmies running down the hill on a sledge.
Gene Wilder, the man, that's the legend. Gene Wilder, isn't it? So
right. Oh, I must be good.
I was fucking looking it up because I had too much to do today. All right, well, I look after you guys. All right, go fuck yourself. All right. Number 3.
They're not his own kids.
What?
He keeps it.
Right. Chud.
Chud. I remember Chud. Is that from mid-80s? CHUD?
84, CHUD. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller.
That was it.
Chud. Right, number 4. Leonard, Part 6. So, apparently, I've never seen it, it's a spy movie with Bill Cosby, and he turns into somebody who owns restaurants, and he starts battling a battle with a vegetarian trying to take over the world, with a magical meat given to him by a gypsy. But the title of the movie has absolutely no reference to what actually happens in the movie.
I always love those ones. Where it's absolutely nothing to do with it. It's just like chud. Yeah, there you go, chud.
Yeah. So, number 5. Right,
yeah,
this is where the rabbit hole started for me. So, it's a movie called Fart, the movie.
Right. Is this a kid's film, or an adult's film, or in your head film?
It's a comedy. The tagline is, Russell loves to fart. Heather hates farting. A love story. So it was made in 91. So I kind of delved down the rabbit hole, and que surprise, there's 2 movies called Fart the movie. Right?
Yeah.
So now this is something that I don't even know if it's true or not, but apparently the original Fart the movie, Kesha is in the movie.
K-E-H-A Kesha.
K-E-H-A Cash is in this movie. And now this was made in 1981. Now, there was a few like screen grabs of a young girl in a movie, so you can't really tell if it's her or not. Like, but, you know, she is in the IMDb. She is, you know, part of this mythology of this movie. But then I started looking into, obviously, Fart the movie a little bit more. And then there was another Fart the movie made. And what I want to do now is I want to play the audio from the trailer for you, okay?
Go on then.
Okay. So obviously this is obviously a non-visual medium, so it's going to be hard to figure out what's
the name of this film?
Fart, F-A-R-T, the movie.
The movie, okay. But
Fart,
this is not
right.
right. Go on ahead.
So this is the remake.
God, I hate reboots. I hate doing a reboot of a perfectly good film. When the original's good enough, why do you even bother?
Right. So I'm going to play the audio of the trailer of the remake. So just close your eyes and let the fart waft over you, okay?
Artie is just your typical college loser.
Come on in here, you smelly bastard!
Looking for love.
Why do all the beautiful girls go out with such dicks?
With one little problem.
Your son is a farmer.
Pull my finger a little and you get... Pull my finger a lot and you get... You are so gross.
Oh, hello.
But if he wants to get the girl, he's first got to overcome the jealous boyfriend.
And don't even think about talking to Andrea.
And his own...
Mr. Wilson!
Anxieties. He's got to choose between the girl of his dreams.
Do you like my body?
Gee, let me think. Yes.
And the love of his life. Will Artie be able to keep his chin up and his cheeks closed?
What's up with you and that girl, Andrea?
It's pronounced Andrea.
I'm not the one sitting in a bar turning to alcohol for comfort.
From director Matt Berman comes an explosive romantic comedy. Starring Heather McComb, Christine Steele, Kevin Farley, John Farley, and Seth Walther in Fart the Movie.
Hey! Ow! What the hell was that for? What's the deal with your ass, man?
It's fucking horrendous. And people made that. People got employed to go and make that film. I haven't even seen the video of it, and I know I don't want to watch it.
Well, I just don't get it. And now, it did make me want to look a little further because I recognized the names at the end, and I thought, Farley, Kevin Farley. So is he got anything to do with fucking? Yeah, cool. and no, I don't know. I didn't have that much time to go into it, but does he have something to do with Farley?
That's your homework for next week.
I think that's gonna be it.
Is Kevin Farley related to Chris Farley?
Well, either Chris Farley or one of the Farley brothers.
The Farley dynasty.
Do you know what? Like it kind of surprised me, and I've never heard of it before. And it has such a really, really high following on fucking, on like Rotten Tomatoes and like Amazon and stuff. Like people really love this fucking movie.
Do you remember the movie came out about 15 years ago, something called something like Thunderpants? And it was a kid that can fart really powerful. Christ on him. So somebody put on to watch as a grown adult. I cannot. No. Is that all your 5?
Yeah, that's it. Well, there's only 4, but there's a lot of content there, Paul. Go fuck yourself.
Well, I'm gonna go watch Fart the movie for next week. Is it on YouTube?
Watch Fart the movie. I don't know. It's like I've not. But this better knock my fucking socks off, Paul.
I found you a real life Rambo.
Is it Sam Neill?
No, it's not Sam Neill.
Is he from Oma?
No.
Because we all know that Sylvester Stallone's from Oma as well.
It is a gentleman called Raul Perez Benavides.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of him? Born in 1935. He is a fucking machine. This came from going through the war stuff, so World War One, and then I found one about a young lad called Jack Cornwell, who was one of the youngest recipients of the Victoria Cross. But I can assume what kind of conversation it would be regarding the British military with you, so we're going to go for the American military instead.
Whoa!
Raoul.
I have ancestors who were in the British military.
We voted for Obama.
We ostracized them, of course. We kicked them out of the family, but they're still there.
He died lonely in the shed.
Yeah.
So, Roy to his friends, joined the National Guard. I'm gonna skip over it here until I get to the juicy stuff. Right, you ready for this?
Go for it.
I found you a real life Rambo. I know how much you like Rambo. 1965,
Yes,
Roy Benavides was sent to South Vietnam, and he was an advisor. He stepped on a landmine during a patrol, and he was evacuated to the United States. So, again, you can see where this is going. So you think that's the end of his that was the end of his war? Nope. He jumped on a plane.
Fuck no.
No, he got injured. Like I say, lost the use of his legs, and he was basically medically discharged to say, you're not going to walk again. Roy used to get out of his bed at night in the hospital, crawl to the wall with his elbows and his chin, and start standing himself up with his crippled legs to start basically doing his own physiotherapy. And he did that for a year. He did that for a year, crawling out of his bed every night, because the doctors won't give him physio. They said, you're a lost cause, we're not going to bother. So he got out of bed, and all the other soldiers in the ward were cheering him on, doing it all night because he was doing that. So he finally learned to walk, and he walked out the hospital with his wife. Wonderful story. The end? No. In May 1968, he flew back. Well, excuse me. He was in patrol in Vietnam, where he'd gone back into the army, and they found out that a Special Forces patrol had been pinned down by the NVA. He heard on the radio that they needed help. All he had on him was a medical pack and a knife, and he ran and jumped on board one of the helicopters that went in. He landed there, and I'm going to read you. I'm going to be very quick about this, okay?
Where's your source? Get your source.
The United States military.
General Patton told me this.
This was the official award citation. You'd assume it was signed by Reagan. So basically, he jumped on the helicopter, flew in. 3 helicopters were there. One crashed.
What year?
1968. 2nd of May, 1968.
Lyndon B. Johnson, then?
Oh, Reagan gave him the medal. I'm sorry, spoiler alert, something happened. Reagan wasn't giving the medal of honor. He voluntarily boarded the aircraft to return to assist with extraction. He ran 75 metres. Oh, he jumped from a hovering helicopter with no rope, ran 75 metres under small arms fire, got to his team. He was wounded in the leg, face and head. He then helped other people, helped them back to the crash, got the wounded. He went and found sensitive information, sensitive documents, burnt them or destroyed them or brought them back, threw smoke grenades as decoys and covering fire. He was then shot again. He found the team leader who was injured. At that time he was injured in the abdomen, grenade. All this going on within 6 hours. He was then under fire. At then one point, one of the NVA fighters got up close, stabbed him with his bayonet. So Roy killed him with his bare hands.
Right. That's what I would have done, Paul.
And then he got injured again in the thigh. I'm paraphrasing here. Please go look for Roy Benavides. It's an amazing story. He was injured in the thigh with small arms fire while giving first aid to somebody else. Got to the aircraft, got out, killed another 2 people when an aircraft. Anyway, basically the guy just fucking took on. He went into a war zone voluntarily with nothing but a knife and a medical pack. He got, all in all, 38 different injuries that day while he was under attack. Saved all these people's lives. Got back home, wasn't given the Medal of Honor because nobody was alive to validate the story. He was given a second highest.
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say something really bad there, that because he was black or something like that. There, like that it was just some real bad racism stuff going on.
No. I like happy stories tonight. I'm a good one tonight. He basically, this guy in 1973, the stories came out. People were really pushing to have his the Medal of Honor from his special recognition upgraded to the Medal of Honor. And says, no, nobody's alive. Oh, sorry, Distinguished Service Cross upgraded. The board said, we need an eyewitness. At that time, there was a living witness who apparently was in the team. He was evacuated thinking he was dead, and he actually managed to save his life. He went to live in Fiji, flew to Australia on holiday. At the time, he saw the news report about this guy, immediately got in touch with him and said, I was there that day, I can back up everything the man did. And then, so that ended up in 1981, Ronald Reagan presented him with a Medal of Honor. And do you know what is, and he died, an old man.
Hold on, whoa. Somebody who has had such an unbelievable life, somebody who could literally get dropped in the middle of a jungle with a knife and a med pack and slaughter like 50 people. He has to have died the stupidest stupidest death. Did he get poisoned by mayonnaise? He get poisoned by mayonnaise or something?
Is this like choked on a prawn in a Chinese restaurant at a buffet?
Yeah. I'm expecting this. I'm
no,
really.
No. There's no twist to this. He died. He was 63 in 1998, respiratory failure and diabetes. It was getting on a bit. But basically, he won 5 Purple Hearts, a Medal of Honor, a bunch of other medals. He's one of the most distinguished soldiers in history. And after we talked about Rambo and stuff, and when I saw that where the little link was real life Rambo. And you read the story about this.
Was Rambo based on him?
I'm not too sure. I don't think so. They've just said he's a real life Rambo. Basically, it was a guy that ran into a battlefield with a knife and killed a load of people. The best bit about this, though, is that I'm going to leave it is when he was on the battlefield and they killed them all and he phoned in an airstrike. He cleared the area. He was dying. He had 38. He'd been stabbed and everything like that. He was put in a body bag because they believed he was dead along with all the other soldiers. Just as they were zipping him up, Raoul used his last bit of energy to spit in the face of the doctor to let him know he was still alive. What a man! What a man! And why isn't that a film? That Michael Bay 6 Hours of Hell, Roy Benavidez.
It is a film. It's called Rambo.
Yeah. I love that story, and I wouldn't have even found out about him if I hadn't started going down the rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole.
So that was our journey into the James Cameron rabbit hole, where you can see. I enjoyed that. I mean, to be honest, it's probably something that I've always done quite a lot anyway.
Everybody knows some useless information about somebody doing something somewhere. Everybody does.
Yeah, and if now you can pass on this little bit of information about Back to the Future not being touched with a barge pole in its first roundabout Hollywood, or you can take away the tale of Roy Benavidez, then
Kesha in Fart the movie.
Kesha being in Fart the movie. I think we need to have a watch of that for a future episode.
Need to investigate that. Do
you think it's been released on 4K Blu-ray yet?
Of course.
I won't touch it.
It's on Amazon somewhere.
Right, I've got a little bit of a quiz for you.
Let's go.
Now, most profitable, most bankable movie stars. So every now and then they always release a list of people who the cumulative total of all the films worldwide, or maybe even domestic, I'm not too sure. But anyway, cumulative total, worldwide, of the films that actor or actress has been in, will show how bankable they are as a star. Okay, so I've got a list here. I'm going to do it slightly different for you because it's a bit too easy considering various Marvel things. I want you to name people inside the top 20 who have not been in a Marvel film. So think of an actor.
All right.
Think of an actor whose cumulative total of box office receipts is the highest, but they haven't been in a Marvel film. 2 of them are a bit tricky, I would say. But just have a guess. Throw some names out there.
Okay. Tom Hanks?
Tom Hanks is, this is the overall list, number 4. 5.57 billion cumulative box office total. Pretty much a lot to do with Toy Story, but Forrest Gump's done a fair bit, Castaway did a fair bit. So yeah, in the overall list, Tom Hanks is 4. In this list, he is 2nd.
Okay. Non-Marvel movies, not non-Disney movies.
No, non-Marvel. Because I'm saying non-Marvel because Endgame. So you just start naming everybody who were in Endgame. So I'm non-Marvel, not in Disney, just non-Marvel.
Harrison Ford,
overall list number 7.
What?
Well, if you think he's boasts on average 108 million per film for a total of 5.4 billion, and that includes Star Wars, Indiana Jones, The Fugitive, Patriot. If you think a lot of his stuff was like R-rated and it was sort of like more mature thrillers and stuff, wasn't it? So,
well, the start like Harrison fucking Ford.
Yeah, well,
Indiana Jones, Fugitive, fucking Star Wars.
I wouldn't have said. In fact, I'm going to look up that. But yeah, no. Well, if you think it was in Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, which probably took at the box office $1 billion in total.
Yeah, but then he was in Force Awakens as well. Force Awakens took over $1 billion.
2 billion. 1.7, maybe 2. So that's still 3 billion in his second 5. So another 2.5 billion on Indiana Jones films and Jack Ryan movies. That's not bad. I was going to look.
Tom Cruise.
Let me have a look. Tom Cruise is there. I think he's all the way down. He's 17th on this one. He's quite low down. But again, you've got to consider. Yeah, but when you consider there's Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Vin Diesel, just because of.
Right, okay. Sorry.
Top Gun, Few Good Men, Rain Man, 4.45 billion total haul. On average, $101 million per movie. Mission Impossible. So I give you a couple.
Well, let me have one more.
Okay,
I thought of someone. Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp is a bit lower down than I've seen his name on here. It's just below Don Cheadle. 4.3 billion.
Don Cheadle, close personal friend?
John Cheadle, close personal friend. Of course, the monkey to the Don Cheadle A-list. He's 4.3, but again, if you take off about 3 billion, 3.5 billion for it, doesn't leave him much afterwards, but, one of them is somebody who has been in Star Wars.
Old Star Wars?
I'm not saying anymore.
Carrie Fisher?
Nope.
Warwick Davis?
You don't see a lot of him.
Anthony Daniels?
Yes, Anthony Daniels. He has only done 15 films, which is why you don't see a lot of him. They have all totaled 5.57 billion, on average 371 million, because all 15 of those films contain Star Wars themes. He has been in every single Star Wars.
But Sam Jackson's going to be number 1, isn't he?
Sam Jackson is number 1 with RDJ number 2. The third one is quite... Again, I could give you the same clue. You don't see a lot of him, but he's been in a lot of big films.
Okay, leave it. Give me a second.
Yeah.
So, Jackson, RDJ.
This guy
Jackson, RDJ. Who has been in franchise movies?
Yep.
Was he in Batman?
No.
I was going to say Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman? Now you mention him. Number 8. Number 8.
Oh.
Shawshank, Driving Miss Daisy, Liam Murray, 5.13 at the box office.
Who is it? Who's number 3?
He has been in, I'm going to start giving you clues. The new Star Wars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit,
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
I didn't think of that.
Third overall. His portfolio of films has earned $5.68 billion at the box office. Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, Planet of the Apes, Star Wars, King Kong as well. On average, the films he is in make $189 million each. So I just thought that was quite interesting, looking at it without the Marvel films in, because obviously the other guys, you can't sort of, to be honest, I couldn't consider, with all due respect to Scarlett Johansson, being the sixth most bankable star in the world, just because.
Well, let's be honest. Have you got any interest in the Scarlett's movie for Marvel?
Black Widow.
Yeah.
The only interest I have is seeing what it means for the movies coming up.
But should it mean anything, really? Considering, she's dead.
Is she?
Of course she's fucking dead.
Look, you've got soul stones, you've got time stones, you've got multiverses, you've got red rooms, you've got clones, you've got super serum, Marvel have got a lot of options for bringing her back.
Well, here's a question. Here's a good question. What character are you looking forward to seeing most in the new Marvel 2.0?
Probably Moon Knight. It's supposed to be doing that. Have you heard of Moon Knight?
Okay.
It's like a violent Batman, sort of, dark vigilante, bit of.
You say that like Batman's not violent?
No, I think this guy actually murders. But the stuff I've been reading about it, the imagery, basically Moon Knight is like this, this nighttime vigilante, but I think he's got some sort of superpower or whatever. You've got is it the Black Knight he's supposed to show up? Captain Britain. Apparently there's rumours of Captain Britain. I'm serious. I want to see that. I want to see a Captain Britain. I want to see Simon Pegg.
Fuck off.
I want to see Simon Pegg as Captain Britain.
I want to see Provo Joe. That's what I want to see. I want to see Provo Joe from Northern Ireland. I'm going to fucking blow the shit out of everybody, like, you know what I mean, like? I'm Provo Joe from Derry. Yeah.
Do you think that you're laughing at the concept of Captain Britain?
Aye.
Do you not believe there is a Captain Britain?
No, I know there is, because I played fucking Marvel superheroes.
No, I want to see Simon Pegg. I'd love to see Simon Pegg as Captain Britain.
Simon Pegg's like 50 year old now. Like, Simon Pegg won't be doing.
So is Paul Rudd. So is Paul Rudd.
Evergreen. Paul Rudd's evergreen.
So is Simon Pegg. Ish.
No, he's not.
I like the look of the Eternals as well.
What about your man Adam? From the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Yeah.
What? Who would I have?
Because he held one of the Infinity Stones as well in the comics.
I haven't read the comics that much. I'll read up bits of them, but I've never read. I think he's going to show up in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but I'm not a big fan.
I think he will. At some point he will.
I've seen a lot of talk about, is it Nova?
Mm-hmm.
Nova. And he comes from Xandar, and is it Richard Rider?
Mm-hmm.
Who's Nova. I'm hoping that the reason we didn't see the destruction of Xandar in Endgame is because that's going to be the origin story for Nova. So when they bring Nova into it, we get to see Thanos again, trashing the planet, taking the Power Stone. Nova gets left for dead, and I want that. That'd be a nice little tie-in. Who's the boy from Atlantis in Marvel?
Momoa?
No.
The boy from Atlantis?
Yeah, he comes from Atlantis. Namor. Is that what you just said?
Nemo?
Namor. N-A-M-O? N-A-M-O-R.
Captain Nemo?
Not Captain fucking Nemo.
Oh, what the fuck you talking about?
A Marvel character. He was in the Illuminati.
Jason Momoa.
Namor the Submariner. Is it my accent?
Well, I've known you long enough. Like, I think it was fucking.
Basically, it's Marvel's Aquaman. Maybe I'm not pronouncing it right. Maybe it is my accent. But Namor.
No, new to me.
Right. Apparently, he is Marvel's Aquaman. He was in the Illuminati with Professor X, Black Panther, and he's apparently getting lined up to be the bad guy / anti-hero of Black Panther 2. Do you remember in Endgame when they were on the holograms giving their updates when it said 5 years later? And one of the women from Black Panther, she was there saying to him how there'd been an earthquake off the coast of Africa. Well,
yes.
the rumour is that earthquake is the snap that has caused Atlantis to re-emerge. And this guy's pissed because Wakanda didn't protect Atlantis. Somewhat along those lines. And apparently that guy does...
That's interesting.
Apparently Namor does get linked in. He was in the Illuminati. He was one of the ones, from what I've read, he was one of the ones that decided to send Hulk to Sakaar in the first place to, cast him off Earth, which causes World War Hulk. Apparently he's one of the ones in the Illuminati with Professor X and Reed Richards and Tony Stark that decides to send him away. So if they bring in a sort of like a proper badass version of Aquaman, because I think we were texting about this today, didn't we? Aquaman, the film, for me, people fucking blow the loads over it.
What the fuck does he do?
It's terrible. It's shite.
Well, my whole kind of thing with Aquaman is, I love Jason Momoa's physique, his bodiness, all that jazz. But
men want to be him, women want to be with him.
Let's be honest. Obviously, I rewatched Justice League this morning because my daughter wanted to see Wonder Woman and superheroes, and it left me very, very annoyed. It left me with a lot of questions. And
see, I was thinking this after rewatching Suicide Squad the other day, because they're two films that we've been talking about recently, and I was going to suggest this to you actually for Suicide Squad, but you've just said, I think we need to look at Justice League and Suicide Squad again, knowing what we know about what the directors have said, take out, has been cut, has been re-put in. I think we should look at these with fresh eyes, and I think we need to make a special out of these. What do you think?
100%, because
Sunday, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't go into, me, I don't go into a movie wanting to hate it. I do not want to go into a movie wanting to hate it. But I genuinely know within 10 minutes if I'm going to hate it or not. Like, I genuinely know if I'm going to hate the movie or not. And
sorry, go
No,
on.
you go on ahead.
No, sorry, I had that set. I went to see Ghostbusters 2016 at the cinema. And I went into that thinking, I'm not going to listen to those dickheads on the internet that don't want to see a film just because the person with the ghost busting has a vagina. I don't give a fuck about that. What I didn't want was Bridesmaids with ghosts. And do you know what we got? Bridesmaids with ghosts. And I fucking hate it. Bridesmaids.
But you know what? We didn't even get Bridesmaids with ghosts because Bridesmaids was a fucking funny, unbelievably funny movie. It was. I loved it. I'm sorry. I fucking love Bridesmaids. I thought Bridesmaids was very funny.
Yeah, I saw it with one of the Moody's cows this side of the fucking North Sea, so maybe my experience of it was... But to be honest, I'm not the one for, toilet jokes and stuff. It just didn't do it for me. I just wasn't in the mood for it, I don't think. I've never watched it again since just because I fucking hated it. And I just thought with Ghostbusters, it's like, please don't be the same thing. I don't want to watch 4 women or 4 men improvise. Wolf of Wall Street, I'll say the same thing about them. They're all men. Half an hour could have been cut off that film because I don't want to sit and watch people improvise for half an hour. I want to see them make a film. I want to follow a script that's been well thought out and well comedy timed, and if that's your joke, I don't want to sit and watch you and your mates have fun and just stick it in the film because it's so good I couldn't edit it out. Fuck off.
But it wasn't that it even was because it was women.
No, not
It
at
was
all.
a fucking bad. It was a bad movie. It was a very, very, very bad movie.
Ghostbusters.
I took the wee man to go see Ghostbusters because I fucking loved the original. I fucking love Ghostbusters 2. I love Bridesmaids. I loved, the Saturday Night Live kind of aspect to what they brought to the new Ghostbusters. And I thought, you know what? If anything, it's going to be funny. If anything, it'll be funny. That's the one thing. If it was anything, it would be funny. And it just fucking wasn't.
Kate McKinnon knocked it out of the park. Kate McKinnon had
a few really good lines in it, and you could see her kind of ad-libbing, a lot to it. But, jeez, it was just poor. It was just poor, and I seen the trailer to the latest Ghostbusters, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure about that either.
I think it's going to come across better. I think that's going to be more Casper than Ghostbusters. I think it's kids who are in this farm in the middle of nowhere find a ghost. It's going to be something like that. I don't know what, but I hope. I don't know. I'll go watch it. It's fucking Ghostbusters. Let's go watch it.
Yeah, I'll go watch it 100%.
I mean, the 2016 one, when you have Dan Aykroyd turning up, you have Bill Murray. He just didn't want to be there. He just did not want to be there. Ernie Hudson was biggest role Ernie Hudson's probably had for a few years.
I would love to know how much Bill Murray got paid for that.
Oh, I'd be talking million plus.
Yeah. You're talking 1, 2, 3 million just to fucking show his face in that. And if someone turned around to you and went, you're going to work for 3 days, you're going to get $3 million out of it. Well, I'm going to fucking take that.
That's fine. Oh, we want to do this stunt with you. No, stuntman filming from behind. See you later. It's fine, whatever. Yeah. But it didn't need to be in it. I don't think any less of him for doing that. Dan Aykroyd, to be honest, he was like, I think he was the one that was trying to get it all. He was the one who was really pushing to get a sequel made. And
have you seen what's happened, Paul? Have you seen what's happened?
What?
On our rabbit hole episode, we fall down another rabbit hole.
We fall down a Ghostbusters rabbit hole. Right, okay, yeah. Now we're having a crack. We're just as specific. You got anything more?
Nope.
Right. So, Sunday, we're going to watch Justice League. We're going to watch Suicide Squad. Is there a director's cut of Suicide Squad, or is it like an extended cut? There's something.
Yeah, it'll be out in about 2 years. David Ayer.
He's pushing for it. He's really pushing for it.
Of course he is. What else is he doing?
Fucking fury. I don't know.
He's got his dick in his fucking hand, sitting in fucking somewhere going, oh, please, Twitter campaign, please.
Even the release the Snyder Cut lot are on the back of it now. They're picking it up and saying, let's roll with it, let's get this put out. And it's like, just give it a rest.
I will still stick to my original. What is everybody going to say when the Snyder Cut comes out and it's shite? Yes. And what's going to happen when David Ayer's cut for Suicide Squad comes out and it's shite?
Well, you'll have had HBO Max by then, so they'll have got the money out, yeah. The one I was sticking to was, if it's not alright with James Gunn, or how do we know if James Gunn's alright with it? And of course James Gunn comes on Twitter and goes, yeah, I'm fine with it, yeah, whatever you want. And I just thought, why would Warner release Suicide Squads? Right, we'll talk about this on Sunday. We'll talk about this. We're going to talk about release the Snyderverse. We're going to talk about hashtag get David Ayer paid. We're going to talk about Justice League, Suicide Squad, and then we'll decide what we're doing further down the line. Anything more from you?
No.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Rabbit, 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 rabbit. You got a beautiful chin. You got beautiful skin. You got a beautiful face. You got taste. You got beautiful eyes. You got beautiful thighs. You got a lot without a doubt, but I'm thinking about blowing you out. 'Cause you won't stop talking, why don't you give it a rest? You got more rabbit than Sainsbury's. This time you got it on the chest. Now you was just the kind of girl to break my heart in two. I knew right off when I first got my eyes on you. But how was I to know you've been my heroes too? With your incessant talking, you're becoming a pest. Rabbit, 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 rabbit. Now you're a wonderful girl. You got a wonderful smell.